the second question. Many years ago, I enjoyed reading Paul Repp's book, Zen Flesh, Zen Bones, although it only gave me an intellectual understanding of Zen. Since you have been talking on Zen, I feel that not only have you conveyed to us the flesh and bones of Zen, but your silence, you impart to us the very heart of Zen. Is it the Zen heart which Western intellectuals are missing? And if so, why they are missing it? The Western intelligence has taken a certain direction. There is no reason why. The Eastern intelligence has taken a totally different direction. There also there is no reason to say why. Such is the case. The Western intellect has remained logical, rational, and has tried in every way to confine existence into reasonable terms, terms which mind can understand. The East has taken a totally different approach. What mind can understand is a very small part. And because it is only a small part, it is going to be dead. It is going to be material. That which is beyond mind has to be understood. The East has moved into the irrational, into the mystical, into the miraculous. And certainly, the Eastern approach is far wider, far bigger. It can contain the Western approach in it, but the Western approach cannot contain it. No mind can contain mind, but mind cannot contain no mind. That's where Eastern approach has reached to higher peaks. Even a Socrates or an Aristotle have not been able to comprehend the experience of a Gautam Buddha or the taste of a Bodhidharma or the meaning of the gesture of a Rinzai. They have chosen a very small part, that which is available to intellect, and it is very small. Hence the Western mind has been able to go into details. because it has chosen a very small part. It can go into details. It goes on knowing more and more about less and less. Drawn to its logical conclusion, it can be said the Western mind will finally reach knowing more and more about nothing. Because that will be the smallest part, nothing. Almost Albert Einstein and neo-physicists have reached to that nothing. And they are puzzled because their mind cannot understand nothing. And they are confronting nothing. Their instruments have led them to nothing. Their analysis, their experiments have revealed them to the nothing. But their minds are not ready to accept nothing. Nothing seems to be full of fear. The Eastern mind has also reached nothing, but it reached nothing in a very different way. It reached nothing dancing, not through analysis, not through logic, but through meditation. It has reached to nothingness through music, through song, through dance, through meditation. It has been a joyous experience. The nothing in the East does not create fear, creates freedom, opens doors, destroys all boundaries. For the Western mind, it simply freaks out. Nothing, no purpose, no God, no meaning, no destiny. Then the Western mind can only conclude suicide. But that too is meaningless. Why commit it? So the Western intellectual lives in a very strange tragedy. All his mind can conclude is suicide. And that is what he is afraid. So he lives halfway. Wishy-washy. Neither loves totally, nor dances totally, nor meditates totally. Totality is unknown. Only partiality, only parts the mind can deal easily. The Eastern mind recognized it quickly that mind is part of the body on the one hand, and on the other hand, mind is part of the education of the society. The brain is the natural part, and the mind is the part that the society has given you, the conditionings, the philosophies, the religions, the whole nurture. This small mind, which consists only of biology and sociology, cannot know the vast truth, the mysterious expanse of the ultimate. It is absolutely needed to transcend the mind, and in a strange way, the moment you transcend mind, you for the first time understand mind also. Because to understand anything, you have to stand apart. A little distance is needed. A meditator can understand mind and can understand no mind. Because he is standing apart, aloof, as a witness. He can see thoughts and he can see the absence of thoughts. And he can understand that both are essential. Thought is for the limited and the no thought is for the unlimited. Your question that reading Paul Reif's Zen Flesh, Zen Bones gave you an intellectual understanding of Zen, there is no intellectual understanding of Zen. Zen has to be understood non-intellectually. Zen is an experience. It has nothing to do with reason, explanations, analytical processes. If you know what is sweet, you know. You may not be able to say what it is. And if somebody asks you, what is sweet? You know it. But you will be in trouble. You cannot say it. It is just on the tongue. The East has not tried to approach reality philosophically. It has tried in a very different non-intellectual meditative way. That is the way of tasting it. Don't ask what is reality. Taste it. It is available to you. It is your very essence. Why you go on looking in the Bibles, in the Qurans, in the Gitas? Why don't you look within yourself? It is there. And if it is not there, it is nowhere. And if it is there, it is everywhere. It is a simple experience. One of the most philosophical geniuses, G. Moore, has written a book upon a very small, simple subject. what is good. Although he gives his book a very intellectual name, Principia Ethica, but the meaning is the search for good. What is good? What is ethical? After 250 pages of thick discussion, he concludes, the last sentence is that the good is indefinable. So what was this all nonsense? One of my teachers was a student of G. Moore. And because he has been G. Moore's student, he was thought to be the authority in the university. I had read the book before I entered his class. He opened the book. I said, please, first read the last sentence. He looked at me puzzled. He said, why? I said, that will decide everything. You read the last sentence, otherwise I have the book, I can read it. But he said, why you are asking that? I said to him, I am not asking it for any intellectual reason. I am asking it so that you can throw the book out of the window. Because the last sentence is, good is indefinable. Then why bother? Then let us do something significant. Why waste time? He looked at me. He told all the students to go out. And he said, we have to come to a settlement. If you insist to read the last sentence first, you are right. The book has to be thrown. But my whole purpose here is to teach the book. I said, there is nothing to teach in it. He said, you are right that way also. Because finally, I have to come to the conclusion that, and I said, you know it, and I know it. So why waste time? He said, what do you suggest? What should we do? He said, what you will do after the book is finished. He said, I have never thought about it. I said, you have been G. Moore's own student, and you did not ask that fellow that if you know that it is indefinable, then why waste time? Then why not do something significant? Then why not approach the Eastern way? The East never says anything is indefinable. It only says things are either definable or experienceable. That is the distinction East makes clearly. If something is indefinable, it means it is experienceable. Sweet is indefinable. How you are going to define it? The yellowness of a flower is indefinable. What you are going to say? What is yellow? Yellow, yes, yellow. But that is tautology. That is not definition. There are things, and those are the most valuable things which have to be experienced. Good has to be experienced, not defined. He said, you are a tough student, but have mercy on me. I said, on one condition. If you give me 100% present tense, I will never come to your class. You can go on with your indefinables. I can do something else. He said, I have to agree. I will give you present tense whether you come or not. I said, there is not a question of whether I come or not. I will not come. And I will make it clean and clear to everybody in the class. Only idiots will come. Because if something is indefinable and you know it, and you have agreed with me, nobody is going to come. You go on sitting here, reading your book, finding finally, which you knew already, that good is indefinable. We can do meanwhile many things there are which are worth doing. Even growing a rose plant, even putting a lamp, may create a little good, a little beauty, a little experience in existence. Are not doing anything, just sitting. I told him, just behind my university campus, there was a small hillock and there were 3 trees. I told him that if you want me anytime, you can come to the hillock. In the middle tree, I sit there on top of the tree. That's when I want to experience good. He said, you experience good there? I said, you experience good in this book which says it is indefinable. I experience it there. Because their clouds are so close and the flowers of that tree are so fragrant. And day and night, nobody goes there. No traffic, no disturbance. Utter silence. In that silence, perhaps someday you may know the experience of good. What is the experience of good? Just a feeling of well-being, a feeling of great rejoicing. Just because you are breathing, just because the blood is circulating, just because the heart is beating, just because the wind is blowing, and the trees fragrant, and the sky is clean, and a bird is on the wing. The man was certainly intelligent. He said, "One day I am going to come with you." I said, "Remember, the middle tree belongs to me. You can sit on the first tree or the third tree. And as far as good is concerned, it is available on all the trees. Just sit silently and don't bring any book and don't ask any question." One day he came, and from the very beginning I showed him, "Go up." So he sat on the tree. After an hour, he came down. I asked him, "Did you experience something?" He said, "Really? It is so silent here. It seems almost out of the world. And I unnecessarily wasted my time in Oxford learning with G. Moore what is beauty, what is good, what is silence. These trees can experience." I said, "These trees can experience much more than is contained in any book on aesthetics, ethics, philosophy, religion." Just you have to be utterly in tune with the surrounding. Then just the bamboos are giving you the definition of good. Then the rose flower is defining you what is beauty. There is no intellectual understanding of Zen. There is an experiential understanding of Zen. That is, through meditation, it tastes. Something opens within you. Something that has not been available to you because you were keeping your back towards it. Something just because you look for it suddenly comes in the mirror of your eyes, fills your very being. A tremendous dance in small things, a beauty, a joy. But if you start defining, you start missing. You are asking why the Western mind has been missing it. It went on a wrong track, and it is still on the wrong track. I told you about the Humanist Manifesto. These are America's most famous intellectuals. Everything has to be defined clearly. If it is not defined, it is not acceptable. But these great intellectuals have not asked that reason itself is undefined. What is reason? What is the purpose of it? Why it should be there? And it is a very simple thing to see that in life there is always the opposite. If there is reason, there must be something irrational. Otherwise, there is no point in calling anything rational. If there is beauty, there is something bound to be ugly. If there is something good, then something is bound to be evil. The moment you say reason, our faith is reason, you have defined your territory. Beyond that territory, whatever exists, you will not accept it. But existence accepts it. Whether you accept it or not does not matter. There was a day only Aristotle's logic was available for 2000 years. Just now, this century, non-Aristotelian logic has come into existence because Aristotle's logic is very confined. For 2000 years, Euclidean geometry was the only geometry. Just within 50 years, non-Euclidean geometry has come into existence. And if you know non-Euclidean geometry, all the points of Euclidean geometry are completely erased. All the definitions of Euclid and all the definitions of Aristotle are denied by the modern physics. Because if you listen to their definitions, you cannot move into existence. Existence does not bother about Aristotle or Euclid. Existence has its own ways. It is vast enough. It is bigger than Aristotle's skull. How much you can contain in your mind? Something will always remain beyond. And that the beyond does not disappear from existence. It is there, whether you accept it or not. The East has taken a far more sinner view to accept both the rational for the material and the irrational for the immaterial. The rational for the outside and the irrational for the inside. This is a saner and more balanced view, and sooner or later the West has to agree to the Eastern viewpoint.